When the sweet whispers turned into chilling threats, I felt the sting of betrayal. His smile, once my anchor, now felt like a stranger's scorn. I realized, with a dreadful clarity, that I had been loving a shadow. I never imagined trust would turn into a weapon aimed squarely at my heart. Just a simple video, made in a vulnerable moment of intimacy, now a loaded gun in his grasp. With a single click, he could obliterate everything I've built. This isn't mere betrayal. It's his power trip, his twisted thrill. This must be what drowning feels like, sinking slowly with an anchor forged by deceit. The man who once held me close, who murmured sweet secrets under the covers, now holds the fuse to my destruction. It's a daily, torturous wait, wondering if today is the day he decides to topple my world into chaos. But what eats at me most is the question that won't let go. Why now, after everything? Why me? The cafe buzzes softly with the low hum of conversations and the clinking of cups. It's almost soothing, if not for the turmoil gripping my chest tighter with each passing second. I sit near the window, sunlight filtering through in rectangles that pattern the floor, as if keeping me in a precarious spotlight. I've been there for 10 minutes, but it feels like an eternity. He shuffles in, a calculated swagger in his step. His eyes flicker across the room and land on me, an almost imperceptible smirk twitching his lips. He takes his time ordering. Each gesture is deliberate, designed to unnerve me. When he finally sits, across the table, it's with a languid, theatrical exhale. I can feel my stomach knotting, the dry taste of fear creeping onto my tongue. My palms are slick and cold, a stark contrast to the boiling frustration stirring inside. "You wanted to talk," he says, drawing the words out slowly, like stretching a rubber band to its limit. The way he leans back, an arm casually slung over the chair, screams arrogance. I'm a gnat under his magnifying glass, threatened with being burned by his whim. I take a breath, steady myself. Yes. My voice is barely audible above the soft jazz melodies floating through the room. I need to understand why. What do you gain from this? It's more than a question. It's a plea, a last attempt to reach something humane inside him. His smile widens, inch by inch, like watching ice spread slowly across a pond until it draws everything motionless underneath. Why? He echoes, with mock curiosity. A soft laugh bubbles up his throat, icy and dismissive. Does it matter? Every fiber of me screams to not react, to not let him see the dread radiating from me in waves. Instead, I circle back. It matters to me. I insist, my hands gripping the coffee cup like a lifeline. The ceramic feels almost scalding in my hold, a welcome distraction from the chill creeping through my spine. He shifts forward slightly, his fingers drumming lightly against the table, a rhythm that taps out my own uncertainty. His gaze pins me, a cold, assessing look that makes my throat tighten. "I like knowing I can," he finally says, the admission slicing through the pretense. The weight of his words plunges through the noise in my head. He enjoys it. This dance of power, the strings he pulls with such cruel finesse. It twists something deep within me, a cold bulb blooming unwanted in my chest. A part of me wants to rage, to upend the table, rip apart the comfortable facade of this inconspicuous cafe, and scream the truth for everyone to hear. But I'm rooted, my voice a prisoner behind clenched jaws. His satisfaction hangs heavy in the air, almost tangible, and I can do nothing but sit, absorbing the chill of his triumphant cruelty as he rises, leaving me to the disarray of my thoughts. The little things about him used to fill my world with warmth. Now, they coil around my chest like a vice. Alone in my apartment, the dim glow from the streetlight outside casts shadows across the room, shadows of memories I can't shake. It feels as if every corner is whispering his name, echoing our laughter, tangled with lies I never saw coming. The floor creaks under my weight as I absent-mindedly wander, every room a venue for our shared moments now tainted by deceit. I pause in the doorway of the bedroom, catching my reflection in the mirror. My own eyes accuse me, questioning how I could have been so blind. But love does that, doesn't it? It cloaks deceit in layers of trust, creating a tapestry so elaborate that the betrayal shreds it with a single truth. The faint smell of his cologne still clings to the sheets. I found the bottle once, abandoned here like a promise unkept. Its scent used to be intoxicating, wrapping me in a comfort I never thought would turn so cold. Now, it's an unwelcome ghost that claws at my throat with every breath, a silent reminder that my heart was a fool. I find myself caught in a web of questions that lead to nowhere, spinning round and round. Was it planned? Or was I just unlucky? The more I look back, the more every small kindness seems wrapped in deception. But who was he, truly, beneath the masks he wore? My heart wants to cling to the fondness, those tender moments blooming in stolen glances and shared secrets. Yet, the knife of doubt twists deeper with each fleeting memory. Venturing into the kitchen, I reach for the coffee cup he gifted me, its once familiar weight now alien in my hands. We used to joke about how I needed 3 cups to function. He was my jolt of caffeine when I couldn't muster the energy to face the day. But now, it's just porcelain. Fragile. Useless. Like the promises he made. They always come back, he once said, smirking like he was telling me the secret of the universe. I laughed then, never realizing the irony that lay in those words, wondering if he knew even then that we were transient, destined for this inevitable fracture. A beep breaks the silence, my phone lighting up with old texts I can't bring myself to read. Sweet nothings that circle back to the heart of my agony. With a heavy sigh, I place the cup back on the counter where it belongs, finally acknowledging that there's no refuge there. I curl up on the couch, the room closing in, my thoughts louder than any sound outside. I wonder how long it'll take before his presence fades entirely, leaving me with just the raw edges of what once was, my own whispers filling the hollow spaces where memories of him used to live. The cafe's usual chatter fades into the background, leaving only the rhythmic thud of my heart echoing in my ears. I clutch my mug, the warmth barely penetrating the chill that settled in my bones. When she walks in, I try to pretend I haven't been scanning the room every few seconds, but I know she sees right through me. Her hug is quick, almost perfunctory, like she senses the urgency behind my call for coffee. I can hardly keep my hands still, fingers drumming nervously against the ceramic. Her eyes, usually so lively, are now sharp and focused, as if she's peering directly into the mess I've become. Amidst the clinking of dishes and far-off laughter, I drop the mask I've been holding up. I don't know what to do anymore. I confess, voice barely above a whisper. It's not the flood of words I'd rehearsed in my head, but they hang between us, heavy and demanding attention. Her brow furrows, a mirror of the storm I feel inside. Talk to me. What happened? The story spills out, each piece hitting the table like fragile glass. With every revelation, her expression morphs from concern to a mounting fury that feels almost tangible across the small table. Yet, underneath it all, there's an unmistakable resolve. I see in her what I wish I could find in myself. You need to protect yourself, she insists, her voice a simmering blend of plea and command. It's an anchor, those words, but my fingers slip around it, fearing the weight of reality it carries. I know, I say, hating the way my voice shakes. I never thought I'd be here, you know. She leans forward, her presence grounding me even as it challenges. You have to look at it for what it is. You can't keep living like this. It's eating you alive. Each word is a jolt, an electric reminder that the cocoon of denial I've wrapped around myself is fraying rapidly. Yet, standing naked against the truth feels too stark, too unbearable. Part of me hopes for a loophole, a magic word that will transport me back to simplicity. But I know it doesn't exist. What if I can't do it? My voice is small, nearly swallowed by the ambient noise, but she hears it all the same. You're stronger than you think, she says, her gaze unwavering, daring me to believe. But you have to decide. No one else can do this for you. The truth hits like a hammer, driving fissures through my manageable panic. As her words resonate, cryptic in their clear-eyed severity, I see glimpses of my path forward. Each door feels equally daunting, but there's a grim comfort in knowing she's there, steady against the winds that seek to uproot me. Silence lapses between us, a sister to the unspoken promises forged in moments like this. She doesn't push beyond what she knows I can take, and I find myself both grateful and terrified of where that leaves me. The air in the lawyer's office is thick with expectations and a sharp hint of old leather. I sit there, fingers wrapped around the arms of the chair, trying to suppress the anxious tingle in my chest. I glance out the window, where pedestrians hurry by with a rhythm that seems foreign to my current world, a world where everything has slowed, every decision heavy with consequences. The lawyer, a nearly nondescript man in a gray suit, settles into the chair across from me. His eyes are steady, exuding a confidence I desperately cling to like a drowning man to a lifeline. Papers scatter between us like physical manifestations of the chaos in my mind. Legal terms swim on the pages, each word an unfamiliar beast I must tame. It's not as simple as you think. He begins, each word careful, deliberate, like he's extracting a deep splinter. I nod, chewing on my bottom lip. He explains the potential strategies, weaving through the language of statutes and negotiations. There's something about injunctions, restraining orders, and protective terms that feel both foreign and, oddly, comforting. His voice is low and even, soothing the raw nerves that line my every thought. I nod again, more vigorously this time, clinging to this small flicker of control being dangled in front of me. Control, a concept so alien lately, it feels almost disingenuous to believe I could grasp it again. But here's this man, mapping out a path cloaked in legal jargon, offering a semblance of order in the madness consuming my life. Hope is in the details, he adds, as if reading my thoughts, and I catch a hint of something rare in his eyes. Kindness, or perhaps just understanding. The conversation shifts into a litany of possibilities, of what can be done, of how I can protect what little of my life remains sane. Each option spills into the next, a torrent that pulls me under before dragging me out again, gasping, believing for seconds at a time that there might be light at the end of this labyrinth. The air conditioner hums softly as I return my gaze to the scattered papers. They're just ink and paper, but they represent something more. They're the thin veil of order that might shield me from the storm outside. I straighten up slightly in my chair, determination replacing the weariness in my shoulders. For the first time in weeks, I feel something shift inside, not quite hope, maybe a precursor to hope. A spark. It's tenuous, wrapped in layers of thick red tape, yet it exists. When I finally leave, the weight of the legal complexities hangs heavy, but in the depths of the bureaucratic quagmire, that fledgling spark flickers on, a promise of navigation, a fate not entirely out of my hands. The world closes in around me. My vision narrows to the pixelated glow of my phone as it panics alive on the table. An innocent vibration at first, then a chime, shrill, intrusive, piercing through the fragile semblance of peace I've constructed around myself. It's amazing how something so simple can unravel me in seconds, pull the thread taut until everything crumbles. I reach for the phone, each millimeter of movement feeling like it takes an eternity. I can see the notification already, a name that keeps my heart permanently lodged in my throat. Him. It's just a text, right? Harmless words on a screen. Yet it feels like a tightly coiled spring, ready to snap. The air is cooler, charged with static, anticipation heavy as a thunderstorm. Thumb trembling slightly, I unlock it. The message is short, almost kind, if it weren't for the blind terror that knots in my stomach. Miss seeing you. It begins, the words echoing in my mind, sending me spiraling. Might pay you a visit soon. A harmless visit. But I know he means more. He always means more. I swallow, but my throat is dry. It's as though fear itself has made a home there, squeezing tightly. I can feel my pulse in every part of my body, a wild drumbeat unsettling everything that was just moments ago so carefully balanced. The details of the room around me fade. The faint hum of the refrigerator, the distant rumble of cars outside, the warmth of the afternoon sunlight streaming through the curtains. All of it disappears, leaving me cloaked only in this fear that spills over the edges of my reason. I can taste its bitterness, like metal on my tongue. I think of locking every door, every window, barricading myself away. But what good would it do? His words alone can breach any fortress I try desperately to build. My mind races, jumping from thought to thought, each one tinged with the terrifying reality of what might, of what will. I can hear my heartbeat echoing, a desperate animal trapped within the cage of my ribs, frantic for escape. I need to move, to do something, anything to stave off the sense of helplessness. But every option seems futile. He has always been one step ahead, his presence so much more than physical. I'm more cautious than ever, a shadow in my own life, haunted by his specter. Still clutching my phone, I take a deep breath, trying to summon some semblance of control, some illusion of normalcy. But deep down, I know this isn't over. It never is. This isn't a conversation. It's an alert, a flare in the night sky warning me that the danger has never really left. It just waits, biding its time. His threat lingers in the air long after the notification stops chiming, and I'm left there, feeling his eyes on me, no matter where I look. The room is quiet, but inside my mind, a tempest rages on, and the fear is all that remains. The dim light of the bulb flickered overhead, casting erratic shadows across the peeling wallpaper. My head throbbed in sync with its intermittent glow, a reminder of the relentless tension that had been building for weeks. Exhaustion clung to me like a second skin, but something else simmered underneath, a raw, untapped adrenaline that begged for release. I sat on the edge of the bed, my fingers nervously tapping against my thighs, a rhythm born of resolve, not fear. No more masks, no more false niceties. The time had come to dismantle his twisted empire, brick by deceitful brick. My sanctuary might be under threat, but I was the architect of my reality, not him. I would not cower in the shadow of his looming presence any longer. Reaching for my notebook, I felt a surge of electric determination course through my veins. Each page was a carefully crafted map leading to his downfall, turning the tables of his manipulative game. Strategies took shape in the ink, bold and defiant. Compromising files, messages, every sordid detail he'd stored away to hold reign over me. I would make them as useless as dust in the wind. The plan crystallized with terrifying clarity. I leaned back, heart pounding in a frenetic staccato rhythm of hope and dread. His leverage, those damned documents and silenced whispers, were housed in his digital vault, each bite a potential bomb in the battleground of my life. But I'd found his key, a vulnerability in the fortress of his arrogance that he never thought to guard. In my mind, I replayed our last encounter. The smugness etched onto his face as he implied how easily everything could be stripped away if his demands were not met. That same smugness now fueled the fire within me. I imagined his face when he realized control had slipped through his fingers, his empire turned to smoke and mirrors. My laptop hummed promisingly as it powered on, its glow a beacon in the encroaching dark. A breath I hadn't realized I was holding escaped my lips, a sigh that turned into a battle cry in the silence of the room. Tonight, I would erase the chains he'd forged so confidently, restoring the fortress of my life to its rightful owner, me. The clock on the wall ticked relentlessly, marking the passage of minutes that would eventually stretch into hours. But this time, it was my time. Each tap on the keyboard was a nail in the coffin of his control, each click a step closer to seizing the life I had almost lost to his machinations. A breaking dawn of freedom lay beyond this night, and with every fiber of my being, I knew, no more hiding. I'd burn his kingdom before he destroyed my sanctuary. I was ready to let it all go up in flames, just to be free. Each document feels heavier than the last, but I've reclaimed their weight in my favor. They lie on the table, a silent army waiting for command. My fingers tremble, hovering over the pile, heart pounding against the cage of my ribs like some desperate, panicked bird. The air in the room sits heavy with anticipation, thick enough to taste, a metallic tang on my tongue. The evening sinks in slowly, casting long shadows across the floor as if trying to envelop and swallow the evidence whole. The overhead light is dim, buzzing faintly, flickering with an uncertainty that mirrors my own. I take a deep breath, the sound abrasive in the silent room, and steel myself for what's to come. My mind races back to when I first found the discrepancies, little blips that at first seemed like harmless mistakes. But as they piled up, they morphed into something undeniable. I was a fool to ignore the signs for this long, to let his charm and reassurances blind me. But no more. One by one, I sift through the papers, each sheet whispering promises of vindication. Bank statements, emails, text messages, each a thread in the tangled web he's spun. And yet, despite the gravity they carry, I find an odd sense of liberation in them too. Perhaps it's the knowledge that soon, this will all end. I glance at the clock on the wall, its hands inching relentlessly toward the appointed hour. He'll be home any minute. My pulse quickens, a strange blend of dread and determination swirling within me. Could he sense my resolve, even from a distance? I'd spent years under his gaze, learning the contours of his lies, the smooth, practiced delivery that so many fell for, myself included. But tonight, the mirror cracks. I push the papers into a neat stack, smoothing the top sheet with my palm. I move through the room, checking the locks, the shades, every detail meeting my inspection with silent approval. It's as if the very room holds its breath, awaiting the storm. And then I hear it. The slick glide of tires on the wet street outside. The familiar rattle of the old engine as it comes to a rest. My body tenses, muscles coiling with the tightly held breath of anticipation. The key turns in the door, a mechanical click that resonates through me, igniting a wildfire of adrenaline. I step back, settling into the space as he walks through the door. He looks up, surprised to see me standing there. "You're home early," he says, a smile playing ghost-like at the corners of his mouth. But my silence is his only answer. The moment stretches, taut as a wire about to snap. "You thought you could control me forever," I say, my voice unwavering. "But you underestimated my strength." The kitchen feels smaller than usual, the air thick with the weight of everything left unsaid. The walls close in around us, me and her, standing almost toe-to-toe, the island between us littered with the remnants of a life built on half-truths and inequalities. My hands are steady, resting on the cool granite. I focus on the texture beneath my fingertips, grounding myself in this moment that's been a long time coming. She doesn't flinch, her face a mask of calm disbelief, but I see the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. It's the crack I've been waiting to see, the beginning of her unraveling. I wait. It's her turn to speak, to defend the empire of manipulation she's constructed brick by brick, year by year. "What are you talking about?" she asks, her voice low and dangerous, like a snake coiled to strike. The faint tremor in her tone is the only indication of a misstep. I laugh, a short burst of sound that fills the heavy silence between us. "You know exactly what I'm talking about," I reply, finally lifting my gaze to meet hers, unwavering. "The lies, the deception, every calculated move designed to keep me under your thumb." I'm surprised by the calm that envelopes me, a clarity I hadn't expected but welcome with open arms. I take a deep breath, feel the air expand in my lungs, and for a moment, the tension in my shoulders releases, like I'm shedding a skin that's too tight, too worn. Her lips thin, the mask slipping ever so slightly. "You don't know what you're saying," she accuses, and I see the faint sheen of sweat above her lip. "I know more than you think," I say, my voice gaining momentum. "I've pieced it all together, every lie, every betrayal. And I've decided how this story's going to end, not you." She shifts, crossing her arms over her chest like a shield, but I'm not deterred. This is my moment, the turning point I've been longing for but terrified of, a live wire humming between us. "I'm leaving," I declare, and as the words settle in the space between us, I watch her eyes widen, shock quickly morphing into anger. "You can't," she sputters, her voice rising, the facade of control slipping as desperation edges into her words. "You need me." "No," I say softly, but with a conviction I've never felt before. "I needed you once, but now I see everything for what it is. And I'm reclaiming my life. You don't own me anymore." I feel the shift, tectonic, the balance of power tilting as I step away from the island, from her. I move towards the door, each step a declaration of independence, my heart pounding with the thrill of finally stepping into the unknown on my own terms. For the first time in months, I breathe freely, the air unfettered by fear or regret. It's like stepping out of a dimly lit alley into the vastness of an open field. The weight of the past clings faintly to my skin, but it's different now, a reminder, not a burden. Each step I take in this new life feels like a progression, a shedding of invisible chains that had wrapped so tightly around my mind. The sun sinks low, bathing the room in a warm glow. I watch the light climb the walls, painting them with the promise of a fresh beginning. My fingers absent-mindedly trace the faded scars, remnants of old battles, each line a testament to endurance and survival. The once chaotic storm inside my head has quieted into a gentle murmur, a background noise hardly discernible against the newfound silence. My phone buzzes on the table, a gentle vibration that pulls me from my thoughts. I glance at it, seeing messages from old friends, people I had distanced myself from, lost in his shadow. Their concern had been a persistent whisper over the months, though my world was too consumed by darkness to hear it clearly. "Are you really okay?" one message asks. The words blur slightly as tears prick at the corners of my eyes. It's a question that requires more than a simple yes or no. Somehow, I manage to type, "I'm getting there," before putting the phone back down, letting it be a symbol of something regained. With a heavy exhale, I step outside into the cool evening air, each breath a little miracle in itself. The street is alive with the mundane symphony of life. Children playing, the distant hum of traffic, the chirps of crickets rising with the dusk. I had forgotten the beauty of this simplicity, the way the world continues unabated, indifferent, yet welcoming. I wander down the familiar path, past the cafe where I used to meet him. It's strange revisiting this place, unfazed by the oppressive dread that would usually knot my stomach. Instead, there's something almost therapeutic about retracing these steps, reclaiming the spaces we once shared as mine again, untouched by the shadow of his presence, his absence a poignant freedom. The evening cradles the town in twilight as I sit on a bench, feeling the rough wood against my palms. There's a journal in my bag, its pages blank, waiting for the first ink of my untold stories. I pull it out, hesitating for a moment before letting the pen flow, each stroke a release, a declaration of self-reclaimed. I pause, glance around at the growing darkness settling like a gentle blanket over everything. This quietude is new, less an emptiness, more a canvas, unmarked, ready to be filled. I'm lighter now, untethered, a half-smile ghosting my lips as I write the words that had eluded me for so long. I am free.